Hey, welcome.
Hey, Sniblet number 6.
Yeah, Sniblet number 6. We're talking about communication.
Yeah,
and
this
we're
is great.
gonna camp on that for a few weeks. I don't think we can ever tap out on
Communication. Yeah.
We need a lot of it.
There's a lot to be said.
Listen to Proverbs chapter 18, verse 21. It says, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruit." You know what I'm hearing in that is there is a lot of power in communication.
Yeah.
So what makes communication so difficult? Why is it so difficult?
Man, I think, we only know what we know, and we have been deeply imprinted by what we grew up with in our home. So possibly some of us have grown up watching communication habits that weren't all that great. I mean, maybe you had in your house what we'd call a shouter, somebody that just sent everybody running to their own places, like, we don't need to talk about this anymore. A stuffer, silence, and it just sort of acts like it goes
Right.
away. Maybe an arguer, somebody who provokes conflict.
And
Yeah.
probably what you witnessed in your household, you will take on as a characteristic of your own.
Yeah. Do you
So-
remember when you and I went to go through marriage counseling between like year 7 or 8?
Yeah.
We had our counselor looked at Dan and I.
His name was Tom Parker.
Yeah,
I
great
will never
man.
forget that.
I remember
Yeah, it was wonderful.
He helped
Tom.
us so much.
Yeah.
But I remember him looking at the two of us and saying, "How are you guys doing at working through the cycle, the full cycle of conflict in your home?" And we looked at him like,
Thinking, I have no
I
idea
don't even
what
know
you're
what
even
you're
talking
right,
about.
exactly.
Yeah.
But he went on to explain to us that how important it was and so healthy practice it would be for the kids in our home to begin to see us actually have discord, uncomfortable conflict of some level that we need to work on communicating about, and then bringing it around to where the kids actually see resolution take place. Not that we have arguments in front of our children, but to actually begin to use the language like, "Hey, mom and dad are not in agreement on this right now, and so we're going to talk about this later, and we'll be back around and we'll talk about this," and then return to that in
Yeah.
front of your children to see that they see that you have resolved a situation. We were like, "You need to teach us how to do that."
Yeah.
And he spent a lot of time helping us
Yeah.
because we hadn't
All
seen
of
that.
us are so different in
Yeah.
the way we communicate. And if we're not understanding where the other one's coming from, boy, it adds to
Right.
conflict, doesn't it?
Big time.
And
Yeah.
so think about all the ways that people communicate. And what we want to do is we want to introduce you to 6 communication styles and how they kind of can oppose one another.
Right.
And if you don't understand where the other one's coming from, you can have conflict.
Can really miss.
So
yeah.
let's talk about some different communication styles.
Okay.
And what we want to do is we want to present the communication style, then we want to role play.
Right.
So here's the first two communication styles. One is called land the plane, where you're kind of looking for a bottom line, and the other is enjoy the ride. So
Yeah.
let's role play hypothetical situation.
Okay. Dan, today was that day that I got to have the parent-teacher conference for Whitney.
yeah,
Remember you
Whitney's-
had told me that you weren't
Whitney's
able to
parent
come,
conference, yeah.
so I did that.
I missed that, I'm sorry.
It was amazing. I
Really?
walk in there
Good.
and, I mean, the classroom was incredible. There were posters on the wall
Well,
and
what kind
inspirational
of
and
grades
just colorful. And
is Whitney getting?
and not only that, but like her style, the teacher's style with the kids was just so kind and gracious, and I just loved everything I got to see.
How is
And it was,
Whitney doing?
she's doing really good, really
Okay.
good.
Now, you saw there's potential conflict there, because Julie was an outward processor.
Yeah.
She is the enjoy the ride, take the car for a spin communicator, where I was saying, hey, land the plane.
Yeah.
What's the bottom line? Let's look at a couple other examples. Okay, let's take turns versus
Thinking
think out loud.
Okay.
Okay? Hey, how was your day?
Oh, I had a great day.
Did you? Who'd you
I
spend
had-
it with?
I had several appointments today, and that was just fun.
How
and then
fun. I
ran
love
into-
appointments, man. I love talking with people.
Yeah.
It just brings you energy. Who'd you talk with?
Yeah,
Who'd
oh,
you-
I had an appointment with Molly, and
Molly,
that's always fun, because I love meeting with
I
Molly.
love Molly, man, she's so fun. I don't know what you talked to her about. Had I talked to her, I would have talked to her about football. That knucklehead is crazy about football. I mean,
Can I finish answering one of your questions?
sure. Now, you see there, the difference was Julie comes from the family of let's take turns,
Yeah.
where I was playing the role of, hey, let's think out loud.
Right.
And so I had a tendency to interject in
Right.
that too often. Okay, so now let's share the third example. Third example
Share your
is share your
feelings.
feelings versus just the facts.
Okay. Dan, did you hear today on the news that tragedy? It was a plane crash, and I think it was 250 people, all dead. Like no survivors at all. That's all? I mean, honey, like, it was a catastrophe. Like, think about all the family members of those people. 250 people gone. Is that all you can say?
That's bad. See, some of us, what we do is we bring a lot of emotion into the
Yeah.
conversation. Others, we're just give me the facts.
Yeah.
So you think about all those variables.
Yeah.
We gave you 6 examples: land the plane, enjoy the ride, let's take turns, think out loud, share your feelings, just the facts. That's where, in the art of communication,
Yeah.
we need to be gracious.
Right. And you
We
can
need-
just see why conflict happens in there.
Yeah.
Because we have these different styles, and they're not, yours aren't bad and mine are good, or vice
Right.
versa. They're just different. But in the bottom line of them all, they really can cause a miscommunication completely.
Right. And
Yeah.
we need to think at life through someone else's grid.
Right.
And consider others more important than yourself
Right.
in this whole art of communication.
You know, one of the major problems, the end result is, George Bernard Shaw says it like this: the biggest problem with communication is the illusion that it has taken place. And man, that just rings true to me, that one of us can walk away thinking, good, we got that figured out. And the other
Yeah.
person is like, he has no idea what I'm talking about.
And we've been there before.
Right, totally, right.
So over the next couple of weeks, what we're going to do is we're going to continue to tackle this whole subject of communication, that nobody's arrived. We
Right.
need to be studiers of one another, so we learn the art of how to communicate appropriately
Right,
so that we're understood.
right.
So we'll see you next week.